So I really hope that through this conversation, you're going to have big awareness maybe about something that's going on, or that aha moment. And I want to encourage you to ask your questions. Drop your questions down below. We will be getting back to them. I'll be looking at this. So if you're watching the replay as well, drop your questions. We would love to hear about them. And yeah, if you're watching live, get involved, get interactive. So really happy to be here, Allegra, and excited about the conversation today.
I am too. Thank you, Emma. And first of all, I just want to honor the fact that this is amazing. Removing abundance blocks. I think that this came up for me yesterday in the morning affirmation room. Emma, we were just talking about that, right? For the WIN community members, just FYI, when we start our days off the right way, where we automatically affirm who we know we are, right? Not who you think you are, but who you know you are. It brings such a different level of openness and just honoring yourself. And one of the things that I've realized, I think it was Charlene that said it in the room, right? And she said, when we say I am, right? Or is it Charlene? It was someone that said it. They said, when you say I am, Nakia, our VIP. Shout out to Nakia. So Nakia Campbell, our VIP, she was like, listen, y'all, like when you say I am abundant, she said, that's like you kind of like relying on the situation, right? Like I'm abundant, right? Because that could be I'm abundant right now, I'm abundant later. But if you are abundance with the ANCE, and I thought that was very interesting when she broke that down, because I was like, she's right.
Love that.
It really I know it took me like a couple seconds for it to hit, but just to what she does, because she's the mental motivator. So shout out to Nakia, the mental motivator, for bringing that to the room for our members yesterday morning. But I'm saying, like, it was so powerful. Like, I am abundance. And, when we're talking about removing these abundance blocks, I feel like that just honors the fact that we have the power to do it. Like, if it's you, right? No one can do you better than you. No one knows what's going through your head better than you, right? So what does that look like? And, I thought about what it feels to even have the opportunity to say this thing. Like, I think of affirmations. It's very interesting, Emma, and I want to hear your take on it, because affirmations is a way to really reward ourselves with receiving what we believe we are, right? And if we have issues receiving, right, and there's no way we can get to this stage of abundance. So when we say things, like I want to have $1 million, or I want the nice house on the hills, right? I'm just saying, I want to travel the world. I want to have the business to, pack lives all over, right? When we're saying these things, I think we're identifying it based on what we think can happen for us, or not, but not what we produce ourselves. And I just want to kind of lean into that, Emma, because I believe that for me, I've experienced that. What do you think?
Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely. I have experienced that too. And it's really easy to go to that place of wanting. But when you think of, I want something, I want to be successful, I want money, you're in a place of not having. So going back to what we just talked about before, I am abundance. You're not you are not abundance when you make statements like I want money or I want more. You are not in that abundance field. So, and that's the tricky thing though. This is why, people do all that. Sometimes people come to me and they're doing all the affirmations and doing all the things, but nothing seems to be shifting in their life. And I think that's really common. And it's because really when you say I'm wealthy and you don't actually believe that. You don't believe that. Something in your head says, no, you're not. There's $1 in your bank account or whatever it is. Or you're broke, you're in debt, whatever it is. You're actually affirming that when you say I'm wealthy. If you don't believe it, if you've got those contradictions going on. And most of us do have these contradictions going on because we're brought up in families, we're brought up in a culture, not just in our families, but when you look at the global economy, the way it's set up, it's built around this idea of scarcity. Even the whole thing what's going on in the wars in the world, it's all based on this idea of I gotta get, and when I have, you don't have, and it's all based on this idea of scarcity. So the whole structure of our culture is built and the foundation of it is on scarcity. So it's really not surprising that we pick this up. It's really not surprising. It's totally normal to pick it up. Everybody has these, unless you're kind of brought up in the Amazon. You're going to have a totally different outlook on things because when you look in nature. I talked about this in one of my reels a while ago. If you go out in nature and look at the trees, springtime now, everything, the flowers are starting to bloom. There's so much abundance. You look at the grass, even in a built up area, there's an abundance. Can you count all those, blades of grass? There's so many. Look at the sky. It's so open, so many clouds up there. There's so much abundance in nature, and the scarcity, you'll find it where people are. So that's the key. The people, we humans, we bring this scarcity thing. It's not natural, from the natural world. It's a concept that we have kind of, as a culture, have taken in and absorbed and embody. And I know from personal experience, when you're living in that scarcity place and you are in survival mode, it is really, really hard to be that abundance. It's really, really hard because you're running on scarcity. You're running on, I gotta get because there's not enough. And I gotta make this happen because if I don't, it's not gonna work. It's really based on not trusting and not believing in that abundance. So of course we generate more of that when we've got those beliefs rolling in our own consciousnesses, because we are, to a large degree, creating our lives through what we really deep down believe to be true. And it's not about the words that you're saying, it's about the energy that you're giving off, because we've all been there. I mean, I know I have, saying blah blah blah, but really I've got something the exact opposite going on inside my head. So just saying the words doesn't cut it. You've got to actually start embodying that energy. And that's why I loved what the affirmation that you shared earlier, I am abundance, because it really embodies that essence that we've got to embody it. It's not just about saying the words. We've got to feel them. It's not about getting through them as quickly as we can. We've got to really feel it. And that means working through potentially all the contradictions that you've got going on. So if you're saying was successful, if you've got beliefs as I did, and I'm still working through stuff, I'm a failure, I'm not good enough. If you've got those are things that you've got to let go of. And that's what I do with people. I help work through where they took this on. And very often it's somewhere in childhood that people take these on, and help let go of that. Because when you release that belief that you're a failure, you're going to be able to let more success in and really embody that success energy much more easily than if you're pushing against this I'm a failure thing constantly.
Wow.
I think I lost you there for a second, or maybe it was me.
I'm just thinking about all me. All right, I went out a little bit. Sorry. Can y'all
Okay.
still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I lost you there for a second.
So I'm
You're back now.
perfect. So, so there's something. Oh, good, good, good. I lost myself for a second. I didn't know what happened. So, so I'm literally like, I'm thinking about all the times that I said the affirmation, but I didn't believe it, right? And I'm gonna tell y'all what it looked like. So I want to use myself as an example guinea pig today, okay? Because I don't mind it. So there would be times, y'all, and I remember when my mentor told me this years ago, right? He was like, start affirming yourself, right? Because I'm a believer, right? And a believer is, if you think about where prayer and things that we do in the word, it talks about God being the great I am. Okay. And if we're made in God's image, being the great I am, anything that comes after that is. So you don't have to ever doubt, right? But the problem that I was having was that I was believing in myself to do all these things without getting support, without getting help, right? It was like Allegra is the superwoman. And what ended up happening, y'all, was that I would be in my head about these things that just were not true to me. You know, I remember saying for the first time, I'm a millionaire, and thinking like, to your point, Emma, there's not $1 million in my bank account. Like, what am I talking about? And what is this feeling in the middle of my chest every time I say it? And it was so weird because there would be times where I would say things and then my body would reject it. It would be like, no, you're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm successful. No, you're not. You didn't make it yet. So what I learned about myself throughout that process, y'all, because this is a work through all. And this is why when we come through here, we say, get with Emma, get the support, get alchemized, and then come over here, we get your business together. Because at the end of the day, if you're not working on the things that you feel out of alignment with, then no matter what you say every day in your business, you're not going to get the sale, you're not going to get the right clients, you're not, because it's an internal dialogue. And for me, my internal dialogue, Emma, had to come out. Like, I was blocking my own self from allowing whatever that internal energy and stuff that was boiling up inside me, right? When I didn't say what I really wanted to say, when I didn't actually feel it, because a lot of times we're going through the motions, but we're not feeling it, right? We are avoiding it. So we don't want to actually deal with the fact that that hurt when that person said no to me. But why did that person say no? What happened? What can I do better, right? We don't want to feel it. Same thing in relationships, right? Like, I had an argument. Y'all, listen, I'm so transparent. I had an argument with Bay. Y'all know we all have arguments, right? And I'm over here like mad because, of course, as a woman in a relationship, I feel entitled, right? Like, you supposed to give me everything that I want and need and desire. I'm a woman, right? And my beautiful boyfriend, in his most miraculous, energetic way, show me better than he can tell me. Okay. And what happens, y'all, is that it doesn't feel good. It don't feel good when you are put in your place. Don't feel good when you're not doing the right things, but it's showing and people can see it. It don't feel good when you're doing the things that you say you're going to do, but you're not actually moving forward, right? It doesn't feel good. But if you are allowing yourself to feel it, what ends up happening is that you start to figure it out. And you start to decide, like, oh, wait, I have to be able to feel this to move forward. So a lot of times, and this is why I focus a lot of my energy with my programs, Emma, on removing energy demons, y'all. Like, remove those energy demons, because sometimes we have them inside of us. And I was not, for a long time, to your point, Emma, I would say I'm a millionaire and not believe it, because this thing inside of me, this feeling, this inner knowing inside of me was always having a dialogue saying back to me, no, you're not. You're just saying that because they told you to say it, but you don't really believe it. And it wasn't until I realized that every single thing that I need comes from me. Every single thing. Because if I ever need support in an area of my life that I don't have the resources for, I just ask. And I keep asking until someone says yes. But I want to stop there because I think that this can be a very deep rooted thing, Emma. And when you talk about alchemizing and getting to this stuff, that's why I said removing abundance blocks. What does that look like for people? Because for me, that took time, and it took a lot of inner work to say, I'm tricking myself, right? Like, I'm the one that's the problem, to say that even though I'm saying the thing, I'm feeling differently. So once I leaned into my feelings and felt it, then I was able to kind of start removing some of those blocks. But I just want to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Allegra. And I want to say one thing about that. Like, saying I'm a millionaire, it's a great aspiration to have. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with having money. We can talk about that another day. People thinking that money is bad and wrong and all of that stuff. And it's not bad to be a millionaire. There's perfectly fine. But if you are, on trying to earn your first $1,000 or something or two, you're probably not going to believe that you're a millionaire at this point. So what can be better for people if you can't tap into that energy, you can tap into your next level, whatever that is. So I'm earning $5,000 a month. I'm earning 10,000. I'm earning six figures, five figures, whatever it is. If you can tap into that more easily, then go with that one and start imagining yourself with that kind of lifestyle. And then step by step, you can work your way up to that millionaire lifestyle that you're looking for. And, it's more power to you to be the more money you have, the more you can have to give to charities, the more you'll be able to share, the more you'll be able to really money is the great expander. So it's a great thing to aspire to, especially if you're coming from that heartfelt, heart-centered place. If you're not coming from that competitive space, we want to move away from this competitive idea that you have to knock people down and tap people out, knock people off the ladder in order to get up. We want to move away from that competitive mindset, which again comes from this place of scarcity, to one where everyone gets to thrive, and the more you have, the more you have to give. So by all means, aspire for that millionaire, but maybe for you it's better to start with your next step, whatever that is, and tap into that, really feel what that would feel like to be living that lifestyle, to be speaking on stages, to be traveling the world. What would that lifestyle look like? And really tap into that. You'll probably be able to feel that more easily than, millionaire lifestyle that you maybe don't know anything about really. So that's my recommendation for that. And yeah, also work through whatever those limiting beliefs are. Write them down. A lot of people are afraid to verbalize them or say them out loud because we've been taught, focus on the positive. And there is a lot of kind of toxic positivity out there, I would say, where you just focus on the positive and you ignore the shadow. And that's no way for us to grow and expand. We grow not by ignoring, by going through it. So recognizing, oh, this belief is here. And the way I work with people is help them recognize it, and I help them really quickly release wherever that came from. But you can do that at home as well. You can start doing that at home. Write down what it is, think about where it came from, and then start changing it around. Start speaking to that part of you, and start shifting that belief, because we want to go back to the source. If you want to, you don't just cut down the weed, you pull it out by the root. So we want to go back to the root to pull it out so that it won't grow and expand and come back again even stronger, which is what happens when you just cut it off. It might be okay for a while, but we want to have a more permanent and long-term solution. And then of course there will be more things, because every time you grow and you hit that upper limit, which we talked about in another live here, those limiting beliefs, those gremlins, those demons that Allegra talked about, they're going to be talking louder again, but you're going to be stronger. You're going to be able to face them better. So the fear never goes away. Even for people who are millionaires, billionaires, whatever, they're still going to have fears, but they're not going to be so cowed by their fears anymore. But those fears, that imposter syndrome, people people like CEOs, really high people in, very high jobs, they've all been shown to have imposter syndrome. So this is not something that only people starting out suffer from. This is something that humanity have. We all wonder, question ourselves, do I have what it takes? Can I do it? Oh, people are going to find me out. These are just the normal insecurities that many of us have. And we don't want to ignore it, because that's not going to help us grow and expand. We want to walk through that and come out stronger on the other side. So that's what I would say about that, Allegra. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I love what you do, because being able to internalize it and then get it out and write it down and actually identify what steps to take and see the results, I think is powerful. Because, sometimes I had to do a lot of things alone until I got like the therapy and all the things that are necessary, right? Coaching, consulting, anything that I knew was going to support me where I was, right? And what I think is so important, Emma, is to know that we are in the process of trying to be abundant, right? Like if we're like not feeling good about ourselves or we're not getting the results and we know we have blocks, and we know this, like, you know, when something's not right, you know, when something's kind of like, I don't know why I don't move forward. I don't know why I feel that way about that. One thing that you were talking about when you said pulling up for the root, I said that's deep, because have you ever gardened and try like pull a plant up from the root before? It is one of the most difficult things to do without tools and equipment, right? And that root is deep, like depending on how long that plant has been there. And so it reminds me of how we deal with a lot of our issues, right? Because a lot of these things, the reason why we're so blocked is because for so long that root has grown, and then we don't decide to get the right tools, and we're just like pulling at that plant, trying to get that root out, right? And most of the time, I realize that when we get some healing or some level of healing to get that root cause or that root issue, I've literally seen people, and I've done it myself, where I'm like, oh my God, I'm healed. Like, it's crazy, right? You'll be like, oh my God, I did it. It's like, I'm here, right? I'm be successful, blah, blah, blah. But then you realize right around the corner, something or this block, it really helps more so to have that support system. I don't believe you can go too far without having someone to guide you, promote you, support you, right? There's so many things there. But when you remove abundance blocks, realizing that you have them, number one, and I was telling y'all, like, I really did. And I didn't say I want $1 million, y'all. I said I am a millionaire. See, now to me, there's a little bit of a difference, because I didn't want $1 million, because listen, I had made 6-7 figures close to, right? Like, I'm not 7 figures, but I'm making 7 figures close to, right? So I'm in my multi 6 figures, running multiple businesses, and still not having the results I want. So now I'm going to go to the next level. Now I want to be a millionaire, right? But the reason why a lot of that doesn't motivate people, y'all, is because what I was doing was I was climbing a ladder of success measures of what it looked like. I didn't care about the $1 million because I made multi 6 figures. I don't, like, money comes and goes. It's going to come, it's going to go, and you're going to use it to the capacity of where you need to plan it, right? So if you want to make a bigger impact in the world, then $1 million can help you make a bigger impact in the world, right? That's the bottom line. But I'm going to tell you, Emma, I was chasing the dream of what it looked like image wise. I was literally looking at people who were millionaires. And this is what we do, because we have this shiny syndrome, right? People who were millionaires and saying, I want to be a millionaire because I want to look like that. And the problem for me was that when I met my first millionaire, I realized that having $1 million does not make you a millionaire. I mean, I get it. Like, I know it sounds weird, right? But in my mind, this is how I interpreted it, y'all. So just bear with me. Because I realized that I wanted the success that could produce the millions to support people. But in the image of the millionaire was what I saw, right? Like the Warren Buffett's of the world. And, you know what I'm saying? Well, he's up there, but,
Yeah.
you know, we have Steve Jobs and we have Oprah Winfrey, right? All these individuals who are making impacts and they look a certain way. So I was looking at, I want the image of the millionaire. Now, when I thought about the money part, that's when the bubble guts and all of the nervousness and all of the triggers started to come about. So I wanted to express that, Emma, because I don't know if there's a difference there, but for me, it was truly a difference, because money comes and goes. It's not about that. I could be a millionaire today and then lose it tomorrow. But for
Yeah.
me, I realized that I wanted a millionaire mindset, whereas if I did lose it, I could make it back again. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know. Y'all tell
Oh,
me.
absolutely. And this is something that we talked about, I think, before we came on live here, that for many of us, we think we want money, but money isn't really what we want when we really dig down. I'm not particularly money motivated, which you might think is quite strange, because I help people with money blocks, but I'm not. Money, it's not, it's the things that I the things that I can the things that you can get with money, the travel, the freedom, the independence. That's what I'm after. The making a big impact, the more bigger collaborations, the ability to touch more people. That's what turns me on. It's not about having $1 million in your bank account. That'd be nice, but that's not my main motivator. So telling myself that I'm a millionaire or that won't necessarily be the best motivator for me. So you've got to find out what motivates you. Is it really the money, or is it the things that you can get with the money, the things that you can give with the money, the bigger impact you can give, and focus on that, because money at the end of the day, money is just paper. I don't know. Maybe we should do a call all about this, but money is just paper. It's just paper.
Wait,
It doesn't have any
we talked
meaning
about that
except
in one of the
me.
lives, though,
We did
Emma.
actually. Yeah, that's true. Money is just a piece of paper, right? But it has value because we as a culture give it value, right? But in a few thousand years, or if the whole thing collapses, God forbid, you would be using those dollar bills maybe to blow your nose or wipe and then you go to the toilet. That's plausible. If the end of the world comes, money is not going to matter that much. So money is just paper. Money is not what we want. We want to feel comfortable. We want to feel secure. We want to be able to do things. We want to be able to buy things for ourselves, to buy things. Money itself, that's not for most of us what really motivates you when you get deep down to it, because it is just paper. It has value because we as humans project value onto something, but inherently it is just a piece of paper that the government has stamped to say, I owe you. That's really what it is. It's a representative piece of paper, like a check. And when you tap into
I'm
that,
laughing
maybe that
over
can make.
here because
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know this is like a little delayed. I don't know what happens with that, but Emma, I just want to say, like, it's really cool that we are having this conversation, because I think that to the heart of it, these are very personal things. Like for me, it was really, I mean, I'm thinking back on those times and I can't imagine what people are feeling right now. But it was very tormenting. Like it was like I didn't know what I really wanted either, right? Like, because a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
times we kind of told, right? Like what you should have, I mean, I was talking to one of our members at the last meetup, and she was just like, I feel like the Runaway Bride movie where, Julia Roberts, lived her life with other people so much that she didn't even have her own things that she liked. Like they're like, how do you like your eggs? And she's like, I don't know. Like my ex liked it poached and then that guy liked it scrambled, right? So she's getting things based off of other people's desires. And I think that a lot of times, especially as moms and as women who support and nurture, we tend to do that a lot, like just overall in our lives. And I've seen it. I've seen it happen in my family. And I really feel like I want to empower women to know that, especially because we're in this era of like, we literally have to make a complete different ecosystem for women entrepreneurs when it comes down to this industry, to
Oh,
business.
yeah.
Like we do it so different. We do it so different. And there has to be some things in place for us. And so I look at this and I say, well, what is it that happens when we get to the point? And I've seen this happen for a lot of women. When they get to the point where we just stop being so subservient and just start thinking about, well, what is it that I want? What is it that I feel that's going to, that I deserve? And I've seen people do this as a mom. I've seen women do this in their relationships. I've seen it happen. And what's funny is that I think before we kind of step out on that, like, this is who I want, this is who I am, or this is who I want to be, let me try it out, right? Because we're afraid to test some things, because what are they going to think about me? And like, what if that ruins my relationship? Well, I believe that as a person freely, you have to experience life and test yourself out with doing things. And that's why when life gives you something, like an opportunity that doesn't necessarily align with what you think you want to do, I feel like be open to receiving that opportunity. Like Emma, I was just thinking, because when we had the conversation before we did the live, I said, one of the biggest things that I feel is so, like, for me, detrimental is that I can talk to one of my clients, right? And I can, or a potential, and I can say, hey, because I do these tests, right? And I always say, I need you to go do A, B, and C. Right. And the thing about it is that you can immediately see when they're receiving and when they're not. You can see it. You can see when someone is like, okay, I got it, receiving that, got it, opportunity. Even if they're uncomfortable, right? They're receiving and they're ready to, like, try it anyway. But I can tell when someone's not ready to receive, and then they're not receiving because there's a level of, like, fear that comes around that. Like, you could see it in their face, you could see it around their body language. And I wanted to bring it to the forefront because as women, we do so much that some of that fear is just like, it's just created out of nothing. Like, it's not even real, right? We know this. So when we are able to be open enough to receive and just take a chance on ourselves every single day, no matter what it is, right? That could be asking for help. That could be, hey, like, someone's offering support. I've seen so many of us turn down, and I'll be like, okay, that right there is a block. That's a block because eventually we're going to complain about not having the help, right? So I just really want to honor that, because for me, I really came from a place where I had to realize I didn't know enough about myself to know what I really wanted. So all the things that, I was looking to receive, or things that I was confused about, it wasn't me. Right. So figure that out first. That is a real issue for a lot of people. But then once you figure out, like, okay, wait, these are the things I want, like how you're talking about, Emma. I want to go travel. I don't know, you may want something luxurious. I don't knock anybody for what you want. That is yours and yours alone. So if you want, luxury, go get luxury. If you want money, go get money. If you want a nice house, cars, whatever, if you want a family, if you want great relationships, go get that thing. In order for you to know that, right, it does take a little bit of work on your part to figure that out for yourself, and then get the support if you need to get that. But then once you're like, okay, I know I want these things, I just feel like I'm not doing the things, right? Like, no matter what happens, you're just not making the phone call or taking the step to do the self-care or whatever that is. I feel like that's when you're blocked. I feel like that's when you get to a place where you're just like, okay, I know that something's not wrong, but I can't really see what it is that I need to do. And I just want to kind of emphasize that because, Emma, I want to give people a process, right? Because we've been doing these lives for a while, but I want to give people a process as to, like, where they are in their lives, right? And where they need to actually take this next step. Because if you're not uh feeling like your abundance, that really got me, y'all. If you're not feeling like your abundance, like, it is produced from you, then there's so many limitations and blocks that come with that. And I don't know, I feel really bad about it. But go ahead, Emma. I'm gonna pass it over to you because I'm kind of in my feelings about it right now, because it reminds me of how I was living at one point in time. And I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
mad at myself about it, but I'm mostly, like, motivated to support and help individuals that are there right now. So Emma, go ahead. You have the mic.
Yeah, I think that's really well said, Allegra. The number one reason I went to a seminar years ago, and they said the number one reason why people don't get what they want is because they don't know what they want. And I think that's really true. There is a whole fear that comes with knowing what you want. So, in that sense, if you're blocked, if you don't know what you want, that can be a fear that you can work through with someone like me. So that's the first thing that I want to say. But if you to get what you want, step one is to know what you want and to be clear about it. And a lot of people, they say they want things like kind of like what you were saying, Allegra. Oh, I want to be a millionaire. I want the millionaire lifestyle. I want a private yacht or whatever. And deep down inside, that's not really what you want. That doesn't really motivate you or inspire you. You're just saying that because that's what those people on YouTube be saying. So you've got to find out what inspires you. And like Allegra said, it's not right or wrong to want a yacht or to want to be a millionaire. But find out what's going to make you move. what moves you emotionally, because that's going to make you go, that's going to make you work for this. That's going to make you do the work that's needed to make that happen, to put it into action and to make it happen. So it's so critical that you know what you want first, and then once you know what you want, and once you're aligned with that, which is important, then you've got to get aligned with what you want. That means you don't have the contradictory things that say, I want this, but I can't have it. I want this, I want to be successful, but I'm a failure. These are the cross purposes that I talk about. If you've got those going on, it means you're going to be pulling yourself in two directions, which is going to make it really difficult to move strongly and get and make it happen. And this is what self-sabotage is. This is why you have all of the signs of self-sabotage that I talk about, starting and stopping, are you're just about to get the thing that you want, and suddenly, it all falls through. The deal falls through and it doesn't happen. All of these signs are, if you're the serial procrastinator, you know exactly what you should be doing, but you're just not doing it. There could be fears there, or beliefs that you can't get what you want, or that you're not allowed to get it, or that people like you don't get it, or Black women don't get there, or people from whatever community you're from can't have that. Whatever it is, it's the story that's running underneath the surface. So you've got to address those stories so that you can actually make a break to achieve what it is that you say you want. And that's what I would say about that, Allegra. I know you're going to have some amazing stuff to add, so I'm going to pass it back over to you.
Emma, thank you. I'm a little in my feelings. I mean, I think this is bringing up some deeply rooted things for me. I mean, I'm not mad or anything. It's just, I think, and some of the things for me, I think really where I started in the business coaching company that I have now, AJ CEO, I specifically did mindset issues after I did my pilot program. And it was because I know how bad people want to change, but there's something that's like stopping us from changing, right? It could be, just that one thing that we needed someone to say a certain way, or it could have been hearing it a bunch of times, or it could be like, okay, I'm just sick of me, which was kind of like me, y'all. I just get sick of me, like sick of me. And when you were talking about, just being able to, I guess, be in this place of understanding that it does take work, and that's why I give grace. Like there's I built I built my program so that if someone has mindset issues, I can I can still work with you, but you have to work with a mindset coach first, or business therapist. And one of the things that I love about that, Emma, is that it really, I think for me, it empowers me to know that people that struggle, right, don't have to stop what they're doing in order to improve. And I think that is a myth. Like, I think that is something that people think, like, I got to stop working on what I'm doing to get well. But for me, Emma, I feel like that's an ongoing thing. I think we talked about that several times. It's like being able to be in a place of like awareness. There's always going to be new challenges, new things happening in life. So if we just
Yeah.
go and you said it, because I was like, I'm the problem, right? I know what to do. I'm just not doing it.
Oh yeah. I know. I'm familiar
I
with
know
that
what to
one
do.
too. Yeah.
And I'm just not doing it. I feel like, don't beat yourself up about this, y'all. Like don't get into your feelings where it's like, woe is me, but at least be mad at yourself enough to want to change. Because a lot of the things that I see in us, right, when we're growing our businesses, is that we honestly just don't want to change. Like that's the
Yeah.
most powerful thing that I see hold on to people, is the fact that change is uncomfortable. Change is different. What's on the other side of that change? How will that affect my family? How will that affect me as a person? Will I still be the same person? One thing I'm gonna tell you, I'm from Jersey. So, and this is a thing that I don't know if this happens in the UK, Emma, like it does here, but Jersey people, shout out to y'all. Okay. New York, Philly, all the people up top, right? We get very like personal about, this is who I am and I ain't never going to change. I'm from the streets type energy, right? And in the real world, y'all, there's different cultures and people and ideas and concepts. So the small mindedness of a city girl, right? Like how I grew up, I had to broaden that thing, because when I thought like that, all I kept thinking about was I can't change because my people at home gonna be like, oh, you changed. Oh,
Yeah.
you different now. And they did. And they still do.
And
And
they
I'm
probably won't
okay
like
with
it
that.
when you change. You know, people sometimes the people closest to you are intimidated by you changing, and they try to pull you back because
Yes,
they don't want you to get away from them. So that's something that can happen. And I
absolutely.
just
And
want
I
to say, like, put it into a nutshell here. I'm gonna say it right. Who you are has got you to where you are now. If you want more, you've got to become more. That's not anyone else's job. That's not about your family.
I'm
That's
just
not
like,
about
what?
if you're from the hood and you're happy to stay there, then by all means, there's nothing wrong with that. I have no judgment there. But if you're from the streets or whatever, you're from that kind of background, cultural background, and you want more, then you're gonna have to do something, start doing things a bit differently to the people around you. Doesn't mean you're gonna be better than them, doesn't mean that you're gonna be all high and mighty. It just means that you're gonna be doing things in a different way, and, you know, probably that will mean letting more prosperity in. Because there is, and I think we talked about this on another live, there is a certain pride about being poor, and, you know, it's not nice to be poor. Why are you proud to be poor? You owe it to yourself to be more, to let yourself be abundant, to become all you can become. That's what it's about. It's about you because you're keeping yourself in this broke mindset, you're not allowing yourself to be all that you can be because you can't do those courses, you can't get that help, you have the fun money excuse for everything, right? And I've been there, I've done that, right? You know, that's why I do this work with other people because I see it, it's a reflection of me. And yeah, that's basically it. If you want more, you've got to become more. That's it. In one sentence, that's it. You've got to change. You've got to up your game. And doesn't mean you can still relate to those people around you, but you're going to be relating to them from a different place. So quite possible they're not going to like it because they're going to feel intimidated, you know. A lot of people who are from, you know, poorer backgrounds, they resent people that are wealthy. So that's one of the things that holds us back there because we secretly have this fear. Oh my God, I don't want to be, what are my friends? What are they going to say about me if I start making all this money? You know, so we hold ourselves back. We dim our light in order to, but it doesn't really serve them. And it doesn't certainly doesn't serve you if you're dimming your light, because by shining your light fully and receiving all the abundance that's there for you, you get to be that model, role model for them. And if they decide to step up and allow more opportunities in, they'll have you to follow, your steps to kind of walk in, to follow, to become more of who they really are. It's not that you become different, you become more you. And that's what money does. Money is the great expander. Money doesn't make you a bad person. You know, I know everyone talks about people who don't like Donald Trump, you know, oh, he's a really bad model. I don't want to be wealthy. But you know, money expands that. If he when he was broke or when he lost, he was the same person. But now, when you have more money, you have bigger reach, you have bigger impact. And that's true for all of us. So I really believe this is your time, guys. It's the time for people from the heart-centered place to step up and start receiving, not just for you, but for the world, because the more you get to share, the more you share that with people, the more they see and the more they can follow and be that light for themselves and be that light for the world. That's the biggest gift that you can give to the world, really. You don't have to, you know, give loads of money. You just have to become the best version of you. And that requires money. That requires bringing in, one of the ways that abundance comes to us is money. It's not the only way, but it's a valid way. And we want to be open to all the ways that abundance and prosperity can come into our lives. Ooh, Allegra, I've lost you. Hopefully Allegra is coming back here. I am still in the live. I'm going to wait for a few seconds, see if Allegra can hop back in here, but she probably lost her connection, something. Let me see if she dropped a message here in the DMs. And I'm going to go into the Instagram. Are you okay, Allegra? Okay. She probably just lost her connection and we'll be back. But I'm going to go on to Facebook now, guys, to see if anyone has any questions or comments. And we can wait for Allegra to hop back in here. I'm so confident that she's going to be dropping back in again. So let me see. Or on my phone, I can check it out, see if you have any questions or see if anyone has any comments from this live stream that we're doing. Oh, Allegra, you're back.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on, but it's okay.
It's all good.
I'll get in the hood. I didn't hear the last part of what you were saying, Emma, but I did hear for the most part, about just being able to kind of like denounce some of those cultural standards and things that you believed in the past. And I just also feel like we got to continue this conversation. First of all, because if I'm growing up in a space and environment, and this plays a big part, Emma, this is just what I'm seeing, right? If I'm growing up in a space and that's majority of my life, right? Like 20 years of my life, I was taught or learned that this is who I am, right? And that's kind of what I explained. Like I was just like, and these are real things that happen. Like, I mean, I remember moving to the South to Atlanta and feeling like, like having this attitude, having this image, having this, like, I'm a Jersey girl. And sometimes our identity lies in the experiences and the places that we're in rather than who we naturally know we are. And so I just kind of want to leave it there too, because as we continue this conversation, myself and Emma, we're going to be putting together a workshop for y'all so that you can actually dig deeper into this. This is a great conversation, right? We always have win conversations so that, our members and guests can have an experience and understanding what it is happening, especially for women in business and behind the scenes, as far as, what happens in your life, happens in your, it reflects your business. And I just want to make sure that we have the step-by-step way to walk you through this process, whatever you're experiencing, right? Get that one-on-one with us. And also, I feel like, to the point of our conversations, Emma, there's some deeply rooted things here that there's a lot of times, and I want to be able to adequately dissect for people, right? It's okay. And this is one big thing that I think that we have to really, really lean into. I was talking to a couple people and I said, Emma, I don't think you need coaching. I think you need therapy. And I've been doing more of that lately. Okay. I've been doing more of, hey, I don't believe that is really what you need. I believe. And I've realized that over time, that's what people have been struggling with, is really understanding who they are to lead into what they need. And so a lot of times we're just, hiring a lot of coaches, hiring a lot of programs, going on YouTube University, and we're really just gaining information to figure out,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
okay, if I just do this thing, then I'm going to
I
get the
can relate.
result.
Yeah, done
Oh,
that.
really?
Oh my God, yeah. I did so many courses and things and this coach and that coach because they all promise you the world, don't they? They all say, if you do my course, you're going to get amazing results.
Yep.
And some people do, but a lot of people don't. And it's because they have this inner resistance, as I did. And a lot of the times, most of the times, that's not addressed on these courses because it's not the speciality of or it's not addressed deeply enough. Often it is addressed to a degree, but often it's not addressed adequately for a lot of people to start seeing those big results that other people talk about and actually achieve from these. I'm not knocking the courses. I'm sure they are fantastic, but if you have that inner belief already in place in yourself, if you don't have all these contradictions going on, splitting your energy, they can really work for you. But like Allegra said, This is the foundation. If you don't have the foundation on there, it's the house is not going to stay standing for very long if it goes up at all. And that's why I'm a firm believer, and I think you touched on this earlier on, Allegra, in because I think you can get really lost in just doing this work on its own, are just doing the coaching and the marketing and not focusing on this. And I think the absolute best model that I've seen is where you do it in conjunction, where you take some steps and then, oh my God, you've got this fears and conflicts coming up, and then you work on that with someone ideally, because that really helps accelerate the process. And then you can go on to the next thing. And really, really working these two things together, that's the quickest way you're going to see results, because business it really is it is a personal development boot camp. Like there's nothing else like it, because it brings up all your stuff. You can get a regular job, and not have to deal with all of these things that you have to address, particularly if you're selling a product or a service that you're actually making or creating yourself. That requires a level of vulnerability that you just don't get from working selling other people's stuff, or in a shop or something, whatever else it might be, or in an office. It's not the same thing. It is much easier to sell other people's stuff than it is to sell your stuff, because that's where all our insecurities lie.
Yeah. That's why I just feel like it's so weird when people start businesses and they just kind of like, oh, why didn't it take off? I'm like, this is a challenge that you took on. And it shows that we're not really understanding what it takes, right? Because of the shiny penny syndrome. Like we see people go, oh, I have a business, but you don't know what they're really doing behind the scenes, right? You just hear what they're saying. And so
Mm.
I really want to emphasize too, Emma, before because I have to get off because
Yeah, gotta wrap
I'm
it up.
trying to be better with my time. I already messed up with Emma. We were supposed to be on this live yesterday. And so we just wanted to make it up for y'all and just make sure you get the information. But I just want to end with this, Emma, because here's one of the biggest concerns I have for a lot of people, and my heart goes out to people about this. At first I used to get a little offended because we'd be like, oh, the coaching industry's in shambles, you're bad coaches. There's always been bad coaches. There's always been scammy businesses. There's always been that. It's just, how are you getting caught up in it, right? Because I believe that every coach and mentor and support, and it's funny because I was talking to one of my clients and she was like, like it took me 2 years to hire you because, I really was just hurt a lot by coaches and stuff like that. Like they call it coach hurt or whatever. And then I heard Ariana say on the stage, right? Y'all know Ariana, our co-founder. And she said, some of the things that people offer seem, they're like gimmicky and tricky. And it made me dig a little deeper. Like, I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? And she was like, well, when have a program or something that you're joining and y'all go listen to our Clubhouse replays, y'all, because they're so insightful. But the way she was explaining how you don't get the result, so you feel like it's a gimmick. But Emma, when you said what you just said, it reminds me of the fact that I've had so many times where I've took a class, I've taken a course, I've done a workshop, but they didn't always give me the exact result that I thought it was going to give me. I didn't get upset, I wasn't like blaming anyone for it. It was just a learning lesson. Even if someone tried to scam me, right? It was a learning lesson. It was like, how did I get that far for that person to scam me? Right? Like I had to have done something to give them access, right? And so I think when we think about it in that capacity, right, we start to take ownership of the fact that we are really always in control. So if we feel like, we got scammed or something like that, we still can look back on that and say, how can we learn how to do that differently next time? How can we be, but it doesn't necessarily have to. And it kind of hurts me a little bit about that because I have women in the community that really have been hurt. Like you've been really hurt by individuals and people with, you didn't know anything about business, but yet and still, you spent your money, you spent your time, especially when it comes to coaching, because the coaching industry just blew up in the pandemic. Everybody became a coach, right? And so now you're out of $25,000 and you still don't have the results you want. But the thing about that for me is it's not about the money really. It's about what did you get out of it? Like there is, you may not have gotten the ultimate result that you wanted, right? But what did you get out of it? And when you start to look at it in that way, in that capacity, and I've had to turn a couple of clients' heads on this, and this is why I'm having this conversation, because I want us to take ownership of ourselves and the fact that we have the ability to choose, and our choices is where we are led. So if you choose that coach, that was your choice. If you choose that program, that was your choice. If you paid for that workshop, that was your choice. And being in ownership of that choice and say, you know what, I'm going to choose differently next time, not complain, not be upset. Because I think for me, I love being able to look for the next good of it. Because if I'm focused on what didn't work out, then that's all I'm going to keep getting, right? And I want to emphasize this because I'm hearing it. I'm hearing it. It's not something that I'm just, I'm not saying this for no reason. This is what we're experiencing. And a lot of times, if we're not able to rely on ourselves and trust ourselves enough to make the right choice on the right coach, the right choice on the right workshop, the right choice on the right program, right? If you can't trust yourself to make the right choice, then you need to find someone to help you. You need to find someone that you can trust that can help guide that inner person or that inner voice inside of you that speaks to you when you're making decisions. And that's why I started telling people you don't need a coach, you need therapy. I'm going to end with that. Emma, anything you want to leave us with, and then we'll get off the live.
Yeah, I think you summed it up there, and a lot of people, myself included, back in the day, needed this deeper work. So I think out of the you if you want to become more, if you want more, you got to become more, and that's an inner job. It's not about going out and getting, it's about becoming. And even those bad, decisions that you made, they can make you become more. So that's still a win on some level. So yeah, that's where I would leave it, Allegra. This has been a great conversation. And like Allegra said at the start, if you are feeling stuck or blocked, make sure to reach out to Allegra and myself. And we would love to support you on your journey moving forward, because this really can be your time. This really can be your year. And all that you need is within you. It's just about getting all that other stuff out of the way so that you can really see it and feel it and be it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Emma, so much. As always, you all have an amazing day, and we will see you back here next week on another live. And
Yes.
we will also be hopefully bringing you a new workshop so you can definitely work with us one on one. Y'all have an amazing day. Bye.